course, this is being filmed, so will be a massive hit online, I'm sure. So what's we're really going to require from you is we need the 30 of you, I'm being generous, in the audience to make yourself like 200. So let's see if we can get a bit more energy going, okay?
Yes.
There we go. So
we're also going to lock the door in 2 minutes. It's too late. You have to stay.
So Alan's a really good friend of mine and someone that I really, really respect a lot. And I think that we felt like it was a great opportunity because Alan moved to Vapiano a couple of years ago now and has really helped to reinvigorate this business and really starting to put it back into a global growth story. And we really wanted Alan to come here and do that justice and talk about this story. And I think one of the things that I really like about Alan is that he's very humble with it and he's absolutely incredible at just kind of getting things done without a lot of rah-rah. So, but a great presenter. So fantastic for the end of the day. And then I'm going to come up and ask some questions at the end. So thank you. Over to you.
Okay, thanks for staying. I know it's a tough time slot, so I'll make this over the next hour. Sorry, no, it's not going to be an hour. So let's get started. Vapiano is a McWin partner company. I don't know if you're aware of McWin. McWin has two founders, which was Henry McGovern and Steve Winiger, who have been active in Europe for many years. Henry was the former CEO of Amrest, and Steve started Foster's Hollywood, Grupo Zena, and some other things based in Spain. They're the foundation of Vapiano that started this journey for myself and many others. Some local information. They have recently closed half a €500,000 investment with Adia, based in Abu Dhabi, a sovereign investment fund, as part of the next fund. Vapiano is not a part of that investment fund, so very active in the region with some local partners. Henry always has the motto, passion and discipline beats education and experience all day long. I think that's really valuable in the food and beverage industry and something that our team is built around. So let's start about our journey. It didn't start out bad for Vapiano. They started in 2002 with the first restaurant, went through an IPO in 2017 and ran into some real headwinds and challenges on their business model, what they were doing, etc. McWin and partners and myself jumped in June 2020, knowing COVID. The bankruptcy was there. The parent company went for administration in Germany, but it's a great opportunity. The brand had such good traction, such a great business, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me, and this is the third time I've joined those two gentlemen in what they do, so I felt the support on the shareholder side and was all in for that matter. When we started the company, there's three things I always want to do: people, brand, scale. Scale, not going to do that out of the gate, out of administration, out of COVID. People and brand, we can certainly focus on those two things. Obviously, we weren't a grassroots, greenfield type of operation, but we needed to get a senior team in place. We spent a lot of time in a room together, getting to know each other. We had a senior team, which we've added to since then. We got the senior team in place. We created core values with that team. I hope everybody understands the value of core values in an organization. They remain unchanged. They're what you live by. I carry them in my wallet. Most of us do. I have a business card that reminds me of what we're made of, and a 3-year strategic plan. I think that goes without question, both financial, non-financial, KPIs. What gets measured gets done. So you have to start out with that plan whatever level of business that you're in. So the big shift we had, as you can see, we had 236 stores. The past company had 236 at IPO time. When it went through administration, all those JV and equity stores were part of the liquidation. So we had to, as a group, we salvaged 159 stores, and those 159 stores were mainly franchise business. So in these markets like Sweden, like Austria, local partners went to that local administration in bankruptcy and chose to be a franchisee. My job and our team's job was to say, here, believe in us. Here you go. Who's this Alan guy? Who's my team? Who's Henry? Who's Steve? Why should I stay in this? Why should I buy this out of administration? So I think we were very successful in getting 159 stores out of the gate and back, believing in us and help grow the brand. So, as part of that, it wasn't, anything that I did, but Vapiano is very unique. in that it had, there's so much inquiries we're still getting from around the world on opening franchise business. You know, we're a global brand, but we only have 185 as we sit here today. But we're still getting inquiries. So that message we're trying to get out, mainly through our franchisees, is what we're doing and how we're developing. So, you know, I'm really proud of this one. This is fairly recent, about a month old. You know, a lot of Europe traction, some in North America, and globally. So we're excited about maybe partnering with some of these people that are interested in our brand. So here's kind of where we get. Also, I'm very proud of this one. What's very interesting about this slide, we started with the 159 I mentioned. We're at 185 today. We'll be at 197. You know, it's not the growth I want, but it's not too bad again. I think we've got a lot of franchisees that are willing to take a look and maybe start to develop as things start to settle down. Very interesting. We look like we're everywhere with massive, but keep in mind that's 185 of them. 107 cities in that 185, 92 of those cities have one or two. So we're onesie twosie everywhere. Looks cool, global, operationally, if you're in the franchise business, that's a challenge. We have to visit them, we have to do audits of them, we have to talk brand standards with them, we have to talk marketing with them. You know, we're very open to marketing ideas, but we need some brand alignment in a very globally spread out business. Here's a video that we did as part of our communication with the franchisees. We had conventions last year. We had one in Dubai. We had one in London. We needed to talk to them. They needed to see me, touch me. Let's get to know each other. Let's get to know the team. Let's get to know what are you going to do with their brand? How are we going to make money? Let's make sure this doesn't happen again. So we did a convention here, and this was part of the invitation we sent to them to show a little bit about, you know, what we think about the brand and give a little energy here at the end of the day before we go off to our evening events.
If you do not know what Vapiano's is, I do not know where you've been. It is the spot, yeah?
A quarter of the world's population is now living under some form of lockdown due to coronavirus. More than 3 billion people in almost 70 countries and territories have been asked to stay at home.
From next Monday, restaurants and pubs can open indoors. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. When the streets are burned and the world keeps turning, there's nothing that I can hold on to.
And that was our revival pitch to them. Here's what we're about. Here's what we want to help you. Let's get your supply chain in order. Let's help you talk to your landlords. We can help consult on that. Let's get with your people. Let's get your training back. And you could see all the stores that opened during that very difficult time. Those were open between 2020 and when we had the convention, which was in September, I believe. No, it was a little bit later than that. The Dubai one was in November of 2021. All those stores were new openings, opened during COVID. So a lot of confidence in us. One thing we wanted to do, how many people have been to a Vapiano here? So if you've been to a Vapiano, it still exists, and we're working on changing that, and that is the guest journey where you take the RFID card, You go, you order pasta, then you go to your seat, then you go order a drink, etc. You have family members, and it's one thing that needed to change out of the gate. So we're working on how we can make more of a frictionless, guest-focused, gather insights to make it work for our guests, make it work for our employees, get more efficient and save labor for our franchisees. So that was something that we had that was very important out of the gate when we wanted to restart the brand. This is the old guest journey. It took a while to even figure out how to draw this. It's very busy, very hard. If you have small kids, it's really a mess because they have to follow you around and it really takes a long time. So it exists in certain markets still. We're trying to change that. We've got 11 of 15 markets going to our new guest journey, which is a QR table service model. QR code on the table, you order on the app, it comes to your table, you pay, and you leave. So it's very seamless, not without hiccups, not without challenges. It throws everything back in the kitchen in a hurry. So you can imagine that if you know the restaurant business, that can be very challenging. We also have developed in line with this some kitchen automation and a KDS where certain orders come out in certain times. So we want to coordinate the eating all together, which before was just hit or miss with everyone going around the restaurant with their card, coming back to their table. So a lot of technology that we've invested in and will continue to invest in Vapiano. On the branding side, great job on the company. It's just so well known. I can't tell you how many people I've met here say, I've been to Vapiano, I love Vapiano. But, it's like we have thousands everywhere, and we only had 236 in its peak. So it's very well known, but we needed to continue that, moving it from that functional brand to an emotional brand. I think we all know in retail and food and beverage is no exception. We go there for the emotional experience we get. Let's assume the food's great. It has to be great. Don't misunderstand me. But we needed that emotional continuation of the brand, and that's what we're really focused on the marketing side. So we want to reimagine a brand for the next generation of consumers by creating an immersive emotional hospitality experience. So, to do that, we needed to reconnect with our audience. We wanted to do that both digitally and in store. We really strongly believe that, pasta is our USP. It's made in-house, it's made fresh every day. It's a difference. Very few do that. I don't know any chains that do that. It just is a difference maker for us. And, cliche, but always very important, always guest first. Get that mindset throughout the company, whether that be, in the home office and, of course, in the restaurant with your greeters, with your chefs, with your management, with everybody. Marketing side, everything we wanted to do, again, owning pasta, we had to make it fun. We wanted to celebrate our craft. We have open kitchens. We want to keep that. We want to keep that visible, seeing the pasta being tossed, the element of freshness, and staying relevant in terms of social issues and what's trendy, what's not, the food trends, the plant-based, etc. We want to stay relevant in everything that we do. The power of data. If you want to be in the customer business, you got to be in the data business. It's just where you need to be. And if you're not, I would really encourage you to take those steps to get in the data business, because you're going to learn more and more, and it will just open your eyes more and more on what you need to do. So to do that, there's a few things we can look at. Of course, sales mix, Google Business, Miley, which is a global reputation software that we use, Wi-Fi logins, everything. You're gathering data points in everything that you do. This particular slide, this slide and the next slide, I did a similar presentation in London to Restaurant Marketer and Innovator, one that very great event that James sponsors every year in London. And I got more feedback on this slide and the next slide than anything. I got emails about these, because in the crowd were marketing people and consumer insights people. And insights people go, that was spot on. That's really cool. I like the way that, that's exactly what you need to do. And then they wanted to provide their services to me as a customer insight company. But they were very complimentary of what we're doing. So I think we're on the right stage. It's not a matter of age, gender, do you own a house? That used to be kind of what we look at in terms of customer data. We have to go down further. We have to look at lifestyle. We have to look at behavior. Why do people come visit you? What's their sports team? Maybe there's no sports team. So it just gets much deeper very, very quick. Today's audience, you know, everything that I've seen throughout the last few days have been, you know, the today's audience, the sustainability, the entrepreneurs touched on it in the session just before this. You know, there's a strong sense of self and anxiety around everything that we do. There's social responsibility jumping at us. There's, you know, value experience. You know, these the people are digitally native. We had a conversation last night at dinner about training with TikTok in 10-second increments. Sounds crazy, but I think those are things we need to consider. I mean, you know, I've got 2 kids that their attention span is, you know, like a cat in the rain. It's very tough. You know, the world's changing, and I think there's, you know, personal conflict between, you know, doing what's right, you know, and doing what makes money. There's conflicts there. You know, we're a generation of extremes. Everything that we do is very hyper now. So we need to really understand that. We need to understand those customers, especially in Vapiano, because our demographic is, you know, 30 and younger mainly, 40 somewhat, but it is 30 and younger in a lot of markets. So we're trying to tap into some of the older demographic in terms of age, but we really need to understand our audience. Reputation, I'll just quickly on this one. I hope everybody in food and beverage is managing their reputation. We do it globally. We know every franchisee, which is in 30 countries. We know how they're being rated. We know their reputation. We know their Google review. We strive as a brand to be 4.1 on Google. Google's 80 to 90% of, you know, reputation. So we strive for that. We monitor that. We talk to them on how many reviews they're getting. Are they encouraging reviews? Are they answering reviews, both good and bad? So we know how often they're getting reviewed. We know their rating. We know if they're replying, both good and bad. So it's really, using Miley was very nice for us. Right now, we are at a 3.9, but we want to be a 4.1. I think any of us that travel, you know, Google's a common one, but not the only one. If we go into a town and we see a 2-star or 3-star, we keep scrolling. You keep going down till you find that 4 or 5, right? That's what we do with food, that's what we do with hotels, that's what we do with about everything. So very powerful, very insightful to let you know how the customers are viewing their experience, and reading those reviews is very important. Marketing, 30 countries, 185 restaurants. We really celebrate localization in terms of marketing, but we have certain brand things we try to put out globally and get that alignment, get that messaging, get that look. You know, all of the graphics you see here are used globally now in most menus. You'll see them even in the 3 stores here. So we too, like World Pasta Day is a classic example. There wasn't one country that didn't embrace, you know, a video I'll show you in just a second on World Pasta Day. We let them cater to that. We give them the toolkit to use what they need in their local markets. So global brand alignment on marketing wherever we can. We really support them because it's all about, at the end of the day, transactions, average guest check, frequency of visit. You get those things going for your partners, you know, they're really in their happy place. You know, using cliche, sales fixes everything in food and beverage, so we have to help them, you know, bring more customers in the door. Here's what we did for World Pasta Day, used by just about every market. Very successful. The markets really loved it. The franchisees loved it. It really gets some energy around the brand. We also did some Instagram filters at Christmas time using AR. Very fun. You know, this was, you know, pretty wild to see all the people that engaged in putting the different pasta shapes on a augmented reality filter on their phone. Very fun, used by many countries. And as I mentioned, functional to emotional. We're trying to keep that emotion that was created in Vapiano years ago before I started. keep that emotion and build on that, get it out of the functionality in terms of the guest experience and the RFID card. So this is just a last snippet of some things that we did in different campaigns, going from that functional, driving that emotional connection with our guests. Is anyone here from France? I don't know if I didn't know, and Soul King in France is a hip hop rapper. He was the one with the glasses, had the Vapiano pizza box. He's had 157 million views of that video on YouTube in the last 6 months. There was like 1 million in a day. I guess he's just it in France and across Europe. But it's very exciting to see him holding the Vapiano pizza box and really hits home with our generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. A couple of questions from me, and then we'll go to one or two in the audience. So the first one is that you're talking about, actually, it's nowhere near quick enough growth. And I mean, you've been working with businesses that were growing very fast and also with big, big numbers. I mean, how do you go from this, which actually, in terms of a casual dining, kind of fast casual concept, is quite a decent-sized business, to circa 1,000 or wherever you want to be? Like, what's that growth going to look like?
Well, our franchisees, as I mentioned, they have 1 or 2 restaurants, so we need to. They're just starting to get their feet back on the ground in terms of sales back to 2019 levels, managing their fixed costs. We want to, number one, encourage them to develop in the regions they are. They know the brand. Now we want them to develop a few more, but we're also in the market looking for some real franchisees that can help scale this thing and build that 10, 20, and 5 years and really believe in the brand. So, we're shifting from very big format to smaller format, which I think will help facilitate that in that really fast casual environment, step above a QSR in our mind.
And one from me around, we're obviously in the Middle East, we're in the UAE, Dubai, you've got sites in this region. What's your outlook in terms of this region? If we look across the system, I think these are some of the best run restaurants that we have. We have 14 in the region, 3 here, and there's Abu Dhabi has a couple, and Doha and Qatar. And so they're the best run because I think the entrepreneurs really embrace and take care of it. They're by far, as a group, the cleanest restaurants that we have. They work with us, they call us, they want to align, they want to learn new things. It's just been awesome in this region. So, we're definitely interested in continuing that growth, in the Middle East and the GCC for sure. And just for complete transparency, how does that work? Have you got like one master franchisee, or is there opportunity for people in the room?
No, there's opportunities for development agreements, some exclusivity, master franchise, of course. We have, I'm the one that decides on that. So, we're looking for people that want to help develop this brand, not only in the Middle East, but elsewhere, so.
That's great. I'm now being flashed up with red, so I'm not going to be able to go to the audience. But Alan is very, very open and willing to have conversations, and I'm sure will be with us for a drink tonight. So come and grab him over at the address. And a big round of applause for Alan. Thank you.
Thank you.